but he didn't want the ants to know. So this was just showing to me how the powers that be are not the ones, are not the gods. They're just playing gods. Hey guys, welcome. Hopefully you're having a wonderful morning, evening, night, midnight, special, whatever time this is coming at y'all. Take this energy, enjoy this atmosphere, and now that we all in the same boat, let's start this conversation. I want to tie on A Bug's Life. I want to bring us back to our childhood, where a lot of us existed at during this Pixar film. I don't know if it's Disney. I'll go Pixar. But this movie about bugs and their war with the grasshoppers and things is very, very interesting to me. But before I get into this
show does not promote the use of illegal or legal drugs. Do not recreate anything that you hear during this show. This is for educational, research, and comedic purposes only.
So let's enjoy this time, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thanks for coming by, Tires. Drop a like, subscribe, so y'all can know when the next video coming out, and a like so that we can get this YouTube algorithm popping. But but yeah, The Bug's Life. I rewatched it last week, and the tiredness was just coming to me while I was watching it, because the amount of esoteric information, put it like that, involved in this project called A Bug's Life was astounding me. And for that to be introduced to me during my childhood, I'm just putting it out there to let y'all know how movies are playing parts in our lives, and it's about how much attention are you able to get to it, or how much attention do you hold to that. Because children, they say, oh, you believe anything when you were a kid. I think you believe things in ways that when you become an adult, you say no longer makes sense. It's just fairy tales and wishes and things like that. But once you start experiencing these psychedelic plants like DMT, LSD, psilocybin mushrooms, mescaline, ayahuasca, you start saying, whoa, hold up there, it's something else going on. So let's just tie, and that's when you combine your mind with your heart, connect them two circles, and you let whatever come out just come on out. Because to start off with A Bug's Life, it starts off with them, the atmosphere of it is these ants, they have every year, they have to have a certain amount of food prepared for these overlord grasshoppers that can fly and just pick up ants and can kill ants. They the rowdy bunch. They remind me of like some bikers or something like that on Earth. But in this sense, they play as like the overlords, as like kind of gods in a sense. As if, no, not gods, because they don't create anything, but in a polytheistic way of looking at God and things like that. They are like the destructive. They just claiming stake. They claiming the space for their own and making slaves in that space. And that's what a lot of gods, I think, that humans are creating, or that's out there is doing. But we're going to tie about that so this can make a little more nonsense. Just tie with me, just tie. But in A Bug's Life, Flick is the main character, and he likes to invent all of these things. He likes to invent ways. He invented this telescope with a water drop that allowed them to see farther, or rolled up a leaf so they can talk like a megaphone. But the point that I'm getting is that he had a real inventive mind. That's all. That's where his mindset was, compared to the rest of the ants that were doing things accordingly. And what I mean by that is according to how their ancestors did it, how their parents did it. It was even an old man yapping, saying, come on, Flick, you're wasting our time. We have to get enough food before the harvest. And this the way we've been doing it for years and years and years and years. So that was like a symbol in society for me of someone who is holding grounds in society and doesn't really want to let go to how things are operating, because that's what got him or her to the point of where they are now. Where we are now, it's a lot of people holding on to what science strictly has to say, or what religion strictly has to say, or what has got society to the point that we are just has to say without ever being a little more curious as to why that is the main projected story. And then and seeing, not being able to see that in some way that it was some manipulation going on in order for that to be the main story. Remember, in history is always remembered by the people that won, the people that lost the wars and stuff. That much about them, and when you do learn about them, it's through the people that conquered them. So their history is contorted and twisted up into their fantasy to the conqueror's fantasy. So I got an episode coming out where I want to tie on the ancient Finnish pagan religions, as Christians call it pagan religions, but the ancient Finnish religions, like where they came up at before Christianity overtook them, because now they're like 86% Christianity, one of the most homogenous nations over there in the Netherlands and stuff, because everybody over there is a Christian now. So just Todd, guys. But that's what this old guy in A Bug's Life was representing. And the queen, they had a panel and everything, like a council of older elders that were keeping true to how things was run, because if in their minds it was all cool, because if they didn't do what they've been doing for this long, then the grasshoppers was going to come and kill them all. Like the grasshoppers came and threatened them and everything. So they're fearing for their life. They live in their life through a fear, so they're holding on through something that was created and not moving on. But here goes this guy Flick, who is like, oh, I got a new invention to do this, but nobody really believed in him enough for his invention to come in full fruition, because things would be going wrong, or in my world people was projecting doubt into it. So the invention wasn't going to really work, because we're all creating this reality all at the same time. So you got to have people that believe in you, or your invention is going to get wiped out. Think about Nikola Tesla. It wasn't enough people that was believing him at the time. He was mocked and everything, so they burnt it down. So then his ideas didn't get the latch on until nowadays, when people rereading these records and things, and we still don't, not as close as what he was at. But to go back to A Bug's Life, he was able to invent. And that was where his mindset was for the 10th time, I gotta say. And so eventually he causes problems for them he causes problems for them because he knocks over all their food. So they like, yo, the grasshoppers came and like, yo, what's going on? Y'all can't be doing this. We need this. And it was this funny looking grasshopper that I'm gonna bring up later, and that was like, hey man, that when the main authoritative figure grasshopper was threatening the ants, he jumped in and he was like, oh yeah, remember that bird that you was scared of? And then he just shut him up. He shut him up because he was like, yo, don't talk about that, because it was revealed to the ants that they had a weakness. Hold on one second. Isla. Yeah, like I was saying, he was revealing to them that they too had a weakness, but he didn't want the ants to know. So this was just showing to me how the powers that be are not the gods. They're just playing movie. I ain't watch it though, but everybody's saying watch that show, American Gods, where they doing something wild. I gotta see it. But yo, these people are playing gods, because that's what we all are right now. But we gotta know that we are equal in this game. But we gotta have the tools and the knowledge and the experiences, or else we being played. But it's all still good. But what I was saying about Bug's Life was how Dot also was a cool. I put him out there. Hold on. It's how Dot was also pretty cool. She couldn't fly yet, and she was mad because she wasn't a royal. She was a royal and it couldn't fly. But what was interesting was that she was one of the only ones that believed in that believed in Flick. And she was the little princess girl. The her older sister and her mom and everybody connected that through the council, the queen and stuff. They didn't believe any idea that Flick had. They didn't want to support her nothing, but this little energetic female figure in the story was able to believe in Flick enough to allow Flick to keep venturing on to do what he eventually had to do, which was leave the island, because they was like, oh, no ant ever leaves this like this circumference or whatever. But they banished him, thinking he would never come back, because that's not what happens. You don't come back. Like, it's the great beyond. Like, yo, don't go there. But he went there. He went there because he had a sense that it was something else there, that it wasn't the end of him. So they tricked him and things, but he really believed that it was something else out there more than what people was latching on to at his home field. So he goes out there. He travels out there, and this reminds me of the psychedelic journey. He just takes that hit, takes that tab, eats the mushrooms, do whatever, and he just went out of went off of his island. He went to a whole nother dimension, so to speak, a whole nother place, a whole nother space and time. It's like all according, guys. Just tie. But and what he found, though, what was awesome and how it ties to psychedelics even more, is that he found circus bugs. He ran into a circus, and you know how people run in. I haven't had to experience myself, but people have huge circus vibes. Literal circus vibes where they start seeing tents and circus colors and jesters and just playing, just what you see in the circus, just things playing out like that, like the color scheme and things like that. Dumbo, the writers of Dumbo, they knew something with the pink elephants and making that a circus theme as well. Just tie, guys. But with A Bug's Life, he ran into these circus bugs who were overall, to get away from their personal story, they was about to not be circus bugs that much anymore, but they were circus bugs, and that's what they wanted to do. They had talent. One was a sidekick. The ladybug had some balance things going on. She was becoming a whole being. Like the ladybug in there was really like the wholeness of more whole than anybody in there when you're talking alchemical terms and stuff. But yeah, Flick runs into his imagination as creating now these circus bugs. Just tie. So now he's in this circus, and he asked them for help. And he asked them for help to fight off the grasshoppers. He's like, yo, y'all can help me fight these grasshoppers. Y'all seem bigger and stronger than these grasshopper gods. And now that I've traveled and seen that they're not the only gods, and y'all out here, can y'all help me? Could y'all help me and stuff? Y'all seem like y'all know the ropes and things. So they fraud for him and things. Well, he don't know they frauding at first, that they actually going to fight the grasshoppers. He think they warriors as well as circus performers. So now, because the act that he saw, they was performing like a warrior thing. And the prey mantis too was the psychic medium. That was pretty dope and cliche, but cliches are closer to truth than you recognize. Just tie. Yo, they way closer. So he brings them back. He brings them back because they agree to come and help him out and fight the grasshoppers. And he presents them to the colony back as, yo, I found these ants. I found these people out there in the world beyond. That's how I want to put it. I found these guys in the world out there beyond what y'all thought was, beyond y'all imagination, beyond what y'all imagination allowed y'all to see and experience. I went there and I found these people that's going to help us out. So he explained to them that he's going to help them fight the grasshoppers. They get all hyped. They say, yeah. So they said, man, forget. They change all their morals. Oh, forget doing all these things for the getting all this extra food for the grasshoppers. We're just gonna do it for ourselves and things, and we're gonna fight them. We're gonna build this giant bird. He has the sensei. He's gonna build a giant bird, and that's gonna scare off the grasshoppers, because he had a hint that the main person was scared of grasshoppers. I forget exactly how that goes, but was scared of birds. That the grasshopper was scared of birds. So he does this. They built a giant bird. But right when things about to go down and they actually see the grasshoppers, it's revealed that the circus performers were just that, where they were just circus performers. They couldn't really literally help. They didn't have the ambition to really help. That's how it played off in the story. But I saw it as they really couldn't help. That's not what was there. But overall, you see that the ants built the ants built the giant bird by themselves. They didn't really need the circus performers, but the circus performers gave them that motivation, showed them more of themselves, gave them more of a greater reflection of what's out there in the universe, which is us, which is them, which was the ants. So it allowed them to exhibit their imagination and believe in Flick a little more and believe in his imagination so that he could be able to conjure up this bird. Yeah, so they believed in Flick. They believed in Flick and was able to come together to build a giant bird. I just reminded the Tower of Babel, things where everybody came together and they was able to finally build it. Because ants work on a hive mind, like that's their natural. That's their thing. I believe that's us humans too. We're just not connected to that. But ants, they just to stick to ants, they are connected to their hive mind. So when one move right, they all moving right. They just all moving in that straight line. So they were easily manipulated by the grasshoppers years ago into thinking that this formula of offering to food, even though the grasshoppers can get enough food for themselves, it just was all a huge game, a huge play that was continuing and being allowed to exist because of the belief patterns of the ants and the grasshoppers that was maintaining that belief pattern for powers, control, whatever in them that wanted to experience controlling something else. That's how I see this game playing out in the Bugs Life. Like I said, this goes deep, guys. Just Ty. Just think about these things that Ty is saying, because, man, why not? Or don't. That's good too. Just make sure you drop a like regardless. But yeah, that's they eventually find out, like I was saying, that the circus performers were just circus performers. They couldn't help them out, but still Flick was able to, in the movie, convince them to still help them out and believe in themselves that they can still help them. And this is all I just see playing of reflections, because when you go into these realms, it's hard to see it as a reflection of you when you see entities and things like that, or encounter certain things. But when you come down, you look back and you're able to see a little more of how that was a reflection, not just somebody trying to give you a bad trip or things like that. But just yourself. That's just how you work with yourself on some higher level that words not even sufficing for. So we need cool movies like A Bug's Life and all the awesome Thai things that's going to be coming out in the future, like the nursery rhyme books. Man, stay tuned. But for A Bug's Life, I don't need that right now. Thank you. But for A Bug's Life, they eventually were able to topple over the grasshoppers with their the grasshopper found out the birds was fake and everything, play out in the story, but they were finally able to overtake the grasshoppers in a way that scared them all away and showed them that when the ants came together, that the grasshoppers could not face them. They were no longer the reigning supreme gods, that now the ants were gods as well, and able to feed themselves and fend for themselves and create for themselves. Because in the end, they all started using Flick's inventions of harvesting grain a lot faster. So now instead of harvesting grain a lot faster and using it for the grasshoppers, it was used for them. So now they just healthy all the days long. And now they can now have less problems to deal with and start inventing more things that will allow them to experience more in consciousness. Just think about that. Just tie. So then now they can be even more than just ants, or be what ants always was supposed to be in the first place. Just tie. And I just saw a red dot right there. Red dot. Just tie. Y'all been dealing with psychedelics and stuff, you start seeing dots in different places. I'm just taking some notes for the people with the ear to hear. But yeah, that's what was happening in this awesome Pixar Disney movie, A Bug's Life. The ones with the purple ants is a whole nother story. And also the wild thing is that the main grasshopper knew that if they all came together that they would be trampled over. He gave this whole speech to the grasshopper. She was like, why? Because one was like questioning the same one that in the end of the movie that I mentioned in the beginning of the movie, that was all hype and giggly and said, oh well, remember you were scared of that bird, main grasshopper, mean guy. In the end, he winds up leaving with the circus. He winds up joining the flea circus. So I see that as him having like this hypeness about him, this energy, more wholeness, this newfound imagination about him that allowed him to now join into the circus to be more than what even a grasshopper was supposed to be, or what a grasshopper was said to be. And now he's showing what a grasshopper, the potential of a grasshopper. Because he was questioning authority the whole time. He had this itch about it, and he relied on it to keep carrying him through, even to the end of the movie. Just Ty. Fix it. So now that they like I said, they got all the grasshoppers away. Now it was a good old sunny day. Even when it's the moon out, they was pruned. They was good. No real word that rhyme with moon right now, but but yeah, it was cool. And they started inventing more and started believing in Flick's inventions, and Dot was able to actually fly now. Dot, the little princess girl, she was actually able to use her wings and fly towards the end of the movie, and she had to go through her own turmoils of bravery and not being all like a prissy princess like her sister was trying to do, keep things in order, but allow that imagination, that flame that Flick was giving her to keep her childlike energy that was lost in her older sister and way lost in in her mom, that allowed her now to be the upcoming new generation. And I'm just talking right now about mutants and about the mutation of epigenetics on our system dealing with these plants, because now the Titans. Oh, yup. He joined the circus and things like that. And then Dot, she was the little princess. She was finally able to fly. She was finally able to fly towards the end of the movie, which was her main concern, that she wasn't able to. But you got to tie about is that she also had these experiences downloaded to her, just like Flick. She left the island. She left the perimeter to go find Flick. So now she went through her own experiences, and I'm talking about epigenetics and how psychedelic substances affects our DNA, or unlocks more DNA, unlocks the so-called junk DNA, or activates certain genes that weren't activated before. That's why your eye is a certain color, because a certain gene was activated at a certain time that chose that particular color. So I'm just trying to imagine being able to change that, like, but yes, this is happening with neurogenesis in our hippocampus, and the changing how our neurons in our brain interact with each other changes when we're under these psychedelic states. So it allows the brain to repair itself, because it will rewire it to not go towards those trauma states, to not go to those however it is, man. But the science is catching up to these epigenetic states, and also in my own experiences. I feel like I'm a child again, but with the ingenuity that I have developed. Yeah, another thing that I want to throw in there about Dot was that she was the little girl that to me represents that fiery female creative energy, however you want to put it, that exists inside of us all, and is connected to being able to even imagine things outside of things that you didn't ever imagine before. It's creating to that part of yourself that I believe that's creating everything that you've seen before your eyes right now. But it being inside this little girl and her seeing Flick, it playing on A Bug's Life was her seeing was her still being connected with this, because we're all connected with this when we're children. At least that my experiences and looking out into the world, seeing other people familiar like that. That as a child, they say you can say anything to a child, but and they'll believe it. But why is that? Why is that? It's because there are no constraints on what they're willing to believe, and that we eventually do construct beliefs that keep us tight into a system, so that when we adults, we like, that's not how it is. Or is that just how we didn't make it because that's what we didn't believe in? But so what I'm saying is that I like how this ambitious little girl figure like reminds me of my daughter, reminds me of me when I'm out in the woods, or it's just just Ty. But think about the Bible. I know we're not all familiar with it or all them get into it. It's all cryptic and stuff like that. But it says in there, at least you be as a child, you cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. And I see that as if you're not able to be creative, you're not able to develop that creativeness in you, then what are you really doing? Is somebody else is really creating your reality for you, whether you want to believe it or not. But that's how it is. And if you don't choose to believe it, it just gets all topsy-turvy. But that's Dot for you. That's synopsis of Dots, man. Let's cut back into what I was just talking about. Alright, sorry it's gonna be a little mixed up. But yeah, starting to go into these things with the ingenuity of the experiences that I have now as a 27-year-old. So moving forward with everything, I'm able now to invent. I'm able now to create things that I see in my imagination instead of relying on somebody else's imagination to create things that I wish for. Now I'm able to be a creator in my life, able to stand up as a creator in my life as I already am. And that's why I adored Flick, because he had this from the start and he never lost it. But that's we are truly never lost it. We never really lost anything. That term lost just means that we're not aware of what's really going on, because everything is right here. Everything is right here. So with that, guys, man, that is a bug's life, and that's my insights on it. If you have any insights, leave them below in the comments. I would love to hear them, and we can have a little conversation down there below. Hit up the Discord so that we can have conversations there. Post your videos, memes, whatever, trip stories, movies you want me to tie on, or if we can get this time things together so we can go live, but have it so that it's on the Discord so I can hear y'all or see y'all, since I can't go live on YouTube right now. But that's the story. That's another story. Make sure y'all, if y'all like this video, if y'all liked it, or if you disliked it, just hit the thumbs up anyways, and subscribe and hit the bell notification. Hey man, we all tie, but do we really tie? Sometimes I don't know, dude. Sometimes I really don't know. Ty always just hitting y'all with a lot of tiredness right now. I really don't want to hang up the phone. But I really do love making these videos and just tying with y'all. But guys, yeah, I check in with y'all. Ty always. Oh yeah. The OA is one is coming out pretty soon, so be sure that y'all went and watched the OA. Got some other ones coming out. Peace. Again, thank you guys for watching. This was A Bug Life. If you have any other movie or any ideas you want for the show, send them this way. If you want to be a part of the show, make sure y'all check out the Discord, and as well be looking at the moon and the sun. I see y'all on the Thai side. Love you guys. Check out these videos. Subscribe. See you on the Thai side.